Good morning, early morning. I'm about to go back to bed. Today is Lather Games Day, and the theme is food or gourmand type scents. And so I have stitched together a set as close as I can to stay on theme with a bunch of different pieces. The soap is a really enjoyable base. The slickness and the comfort of this base from Mystic Water is tremendous. And this one is Oatmeal Stout, and I enjoy it. Pretty sweet. And the rest of the items here, whenever I go to get some food, I often order Grande from Fatip. This is the razor. And I do enjoy an occasional Treet. This is Treet New Steel, and it is a carbon steel blade, so another carbon. Last carbon I used was a single edge in a Micromatic, and that's a really, really aggressive razor. This one is promising to be much more comfortable. And so I took the 1/4 teaspoon measure, kind of what you have to do for soap chunks like this that you get as samples. I press that into the bottom of my lather bowl, so that's ready to go. The brush for today is a B2 from Zenith, and I've been looking forward to using that guy. He is pre-owned. I did a little test lather earlier today, technically yesterday, and man, that thing is soft. If you want a soft bore with almost a floppy nature to it, then that might be one to head toward. Looks like this guy's been used once. Carbon blade. You do have to take good care of your carbon blades. It's been a year since I've used this one, and I just kind of dabbed him off. Put him back in his envelope. As you can see, we don't have any rust or anything like that. And so I wanted to show you real time putting this blade in, because sometimes Fatips can be a little ornery. Sometimes taking 20 seconds to adjust the blade. So just wanted to do it live. So we've got the top cap and the base plate there. Many people's technique is just kind of to put it on, just kind of to drop the base plate on, try to be as generic as possible, keep things kind of centered. And sometimes things just fall that way. And I'll tighten it just until it catches. Then I flip it over. And that's really, really close. And there we go. Let's tweak it a little bit more. This one is a little bit misadjusted. I don't know whether it's the top cap leaning over to one side, like maybe the post wasn't drilled exactly centering the top cap, so I get more exposure on one side than the other. But to be honest, I don't really care. It's still really comfortable. It's a terrific shaver. Yeah, as you can see, it looks like this side right here has a little more exposure, a little shorter comb than this side. Or yeah, you can see that. And so this side's probably going to be a little more comfy. But so yeah, sometimes the Fatips have QC problems. But to me, it's a brass razor for $25. Lasts you multiple lifetimes. Even if you get one like this, to me, it's not a big deal. All right, we're ready to go. Put my soap sample, my spoon aside, get my face wet. A little bit more than, no, maybe about 24 hours worth of stole. Hard water as usual from this location. This brush has just been soaking for a few minutes. It did have some split tips when I got it. And so obviously it had been used. Not very much splay, but it did have some nice split tips. So It's actually a good bit of water in there. Mystic water is one of the few soaps that really likes to have water added slowly at first, or it can really bubble up and just kind of stay airy. And so what I'm going to do is just kind of mix. If you want to save a little bit of time, you can adjust the speed on the YouTube video. As always, there's a little gear icon when you hover over the video. Click that and look for, I think it's playback speed. Choose maybe 1.25, save a little bit of time. If you choose 1.5, you can usually still understand my words and save more time. So yeah, already this is starting to come together really nicely. Look at that. So this is a 26 millimeter bore. It's got that shape that you see with some Omegas. Then this is the aluminum handle, not the shiny silver plastic one. And I was really happy to get it in a, it must have been in a shaving lot. I don't remember buying it specifically. But man, that 26 millimeter knot, the hairs had a lot of bend to them and were so comfortable. Might be my most comfortable bore so far. Probably too floppy for some, probably too little backbone for some. But it had a good, the tip stayed on my face, had a good feel to it. A massagey, soft feel to it, so I think I'm gonna like it. I've added 1 teaspoon. Let's add another half. Some people have a big problem lathering this brand of soap, and I think it's just because they come at it with too wet a brush. And then if it gets all airy like that, you just have to spend more time mixing it to kind of work those bubbles out. And they don't want to do that, and so they shave with something that hasn't creamed up yet. See, already this is terrific. Looks a little on the dry side still. It has been a while since I have shaved with Mystic Water. I got about 8 or 9 different samples now refilled, so 2.5 teaspoons is now in there. Bought about 8 samples and went through them. The tragic part about it is I love this base. I love the soap base that she has, but so many of them are too lightly scented for me. Just couldn't really smell them very much at all during the shave. And so I just had to kind of pass. There were a couple. This one I could actually smell. There were a couple that I enjoyed, but it was far too many. I mean, far too few. I was a little disappointed. This handle does get a little hard to hold on to when it's wet, and definitely when it has lather on it. So feel free to keep that cleaner, rinse it off and stuff. Yeah, I think we're looking good. Do a little finger test here. Yeah, there's that slickness. That is nice. little too close to the towel ring today. Almost done. Okay. Face wet. I think everything else is good to go. This lather might be a little on the wet side, so I'll just make sure there's no standing air. I mean standing bubbles on my face, any drops, you know. I just did a quick Williams lather with this earlier today and with this brush. Man, it's comfortable. I like the fact that it's a 26 millimeter because that adds more tips and more density. I think it's a really nice bore. I mean, this may grow to become one of my favorites. It feels that good. They had other handles with this same knot size. If this one maybe is too slippery. There we go, looking good. And yep, there's that scent. Kind of a smooth, sweet, stout, slight oatmeal flavor to it. Definitely Gourmand. And we used, how much water? 2.5 teaspoons. Alrighty. You know, that's usually what happens when I start using either the Testina Gentile or this Grande. It just moves so effortlessly through the hair. I can feel the blade cutting. I mean, it's not buttery smooth, but it just moves so nicely. I don't know what kind of magic they put into this thing. And it's doing pretty well with this carbon blade, that's for sure. Maybe there's the super smooth side, you know, that I said that I showed you had a longer comb. I would imagine that would be a smoother side, but either one, get the job done quickly and well. All right, second pass. The Grande is definitely the more aggressive one, but I wouldn't say it's aggressive. Surely I think there's somebody out there with skin sensitive enough that might have a problem with it, but if you've read articles or posts about it kind of being aggressive, I wouldn't hesitate to try it at all. It is an open comb, and you know, that is a stereotype that is definitely a misnomer in this case of being aggressive just because it's an open comb. It's just not. It feels great. It's a great cutter. Let's see which side. Okay, here's the supposedly maybe what I'm guessing is the smooth side. Yeah, see, that's just nice. Very nice. Anybody could enjoy that. Shave, I would think, without a problem. switch over to the other side. See if it's too different. Nope, that's enjoyable too. So even when it's not quite centered up, it's just fine, to me at least. There may be certain blades that have a larger holes in the middle that let you move it around and even it up. And so they may work a little better. But I mean, this is just fine to me. Never had a problem with mine. Rinse time. All right, third pass. Jab the brush down in there for a little bit to get the next load. And yeah, man, this brush is just comfortable. Splays real easy. There's a longer throw Zenith, but holy cow, that would be, unless they use different hairs or something, man, that would almost be too floppy, in my opinion. Longer loft is what I'm kind of was meaning. I'm sure you figured out what I meant. Man, this guy's going to be awesome when the more the tips split. The scent on this soap is pretty light, maybe 3 or 4 out of 10. It's not strong. So this Treet carbon is definitely a comfortable blade here. That carbon I used with the Micromatic, man. Single edge. I did some research, and that is an aggressive razor, probably the most aggressive that I own. And I heard that the PTFE were the gem blades to use for that one for sure, according to a lot of different opinions. So I'm definitely going to try that next time. It's probably what I tried the first time with that razor and actually had decent results. Very rarely can I do what I just did at the end of that last pass with this razor. Because if you watch my channel at all, you'll know that this is one of my finishing strokes with this area, because this is my trouble spot. These hairs just lay down close to the skin and are really tough, and anything that doesn't have a slightly against the grain angle to it is less than effective usually. And I have an area of hair around that, because the hair is kind of going down here, and there's some directional changes that make it catch and feel aggressive, feel tender if I go beyond a certain area, if I overreach out of this zone right here. But just now, you may have noticed that I went over that area without a problem. And that's the geometry of these guys. And then a sharp blade that's in here. This one works well, apparently. And I did it with nice comfort, so I'm sure my result right there is going to be tremendous and nicely close. So let me rinse and check it out. Yeah, as I expected, superior results in terms of closeness right here. So terrific combo. Any sharp blade in this razor is going to get me there. It really seems like that's the case. I often will do this angle for the first couple of passes. It is a cross-grained. It doesn't have too much of a against the grain part to it. And then on the third pass, I'll come up from this direction. It's kind of the other side of the cross-grain. And it's maybe a little bit of against the grain if I start to come from the bottom like that. And that apparently is for my mini razors, the stroke that gets me some real cutting. In your own case, if you've got swirls in different places or curves and things in your grain, in your beard growth, you may have to do that sort of thing in other areas or in other ways. So, man, I just love these Fatips. I go back and forth. I love the thickness and the girth of this handle, but it is hollow, and so it's not as heavy. The Piccolo handle is solid, but it's thinner, and it is heavier. So I go back and forth. I think they're both great. Set that aside, dry it off in a little bit. So 2.5 teaspoons of water added. And then we have maybe 2 passes of lather left in the bowl. A little bit more than I usually like, maybe even 3 passes. But I like to have a little bit extra. So we'll rinse this off, and some people wash their face again with the excess lather at the end of the shave, but I've just done it 3 times, so I'm not that kind of person. All right. Showed you that, showed you everything. Face feels good. I don't feel any need for a post-shave product, but I do have oily skin. And let's reach down and see. Oh yeah, you know, we're staying with the food theme. I think I've got some Sapone de Paolo orange balm down there somewhere. I don't really recommend this balm. It's very thin, and it just doesn't feel as effective as some of the other ones. It's more like milk. Now, I've got oily skin, and so it may be that this is a really effective balm. The soap of this same brand, Sapone de Paolo. Italian name, but I believe it's a American US maker. I do like the way it spreads nicely, even if your face is not, if you haven't added some extra water, that's nice. There we go. So I don't know how effective it is. Let's take a look at some of the ingredients. That might help us. Distilled water, grapeseed oil, apricot kernel oil, emulsifying wax, fragrance, and some glycol, and a big long phenoxyethanol, something like that. So the ingredient list looks pretty, pure and kind of unadulterated. So it might be a really good product for some folks out there. I think it does pretty well with me. So it was on sale on Maggard's one time, and I picked up a couple. Really good sale. I don't like a lot of the other scents. I've tried the Terroso and the Pulito. I think the Pulito is the one that's just kind of olive oil, olives and musk or something, but it's just kind of weird smelling to me. The orange one's definitely my favorite that I've tried out of those 3. Just kind of a simple, straight orange scent. It's not super strong, a little low key. So we're in good shape. Just going to clean up. So despite being a 26 millimeter knot with quite a bit of hair density and stuff, you can see it's very easy to get this guy pointed another way, the flex. But man, it is comfortable. Now, as it ages and opens up maybe a little bit more, will it get too open, too flexy? One of the things we can do is put an O-ring at the bottom to kind of bring things in. But we'll just watch it and see. As you can see there, I think a couple of the hairs have split, but not many. So this guy's going to get even more comfy as the uses go on. He's not a part of my Borathon. Maybe I should bring him in as well. I'm not sure. I didn't bring him in initially because I didn't know how many uses he had on him. But judging by a few of the split tips, he may be able to join. We'll see. I like him a lot. little side note here. If you want to make your own soap in a quick DIY kind of way, you can find a Williams puck for about $1, $1.20. I'm able to do that in a local grocery store. And then you get some aftershave from Walmart or wherever. Sometimes that's $6. So we're looking at maybe $7 or $8. You can take a container like this, grate up the Williams or Arco, works the same way. They're both hard soaps. They both perform really well. And grate them up with a cheese grater. Now, in the case of Arco, it's very pungent with that lemony industrial scent. So I like to divide it between 2 paper plates, set it out for about 2 weeks. That's Arco. Williams is kind of a citronella scent, but it goes away after a very short time. So I don't mind just letting that sit out for maybe a day or so. And then you put the shavings into a container. I've still got some remnants up here at the top. And don't press them down or anything. Then pour the aftershave into it. If you like mild scents, then maybe half the bottle. But for me, I pretty much have learned to do the whole bottle. You can also do a smaller test quantity with fewer shavings and fewer aftershave if you don't want to use up as much, if you don't think it might work. But I do the whole bottle. Now the problem is you mix that up a little bit, stir it every day, stir it a few times, and it'll start to harden as the alcohol evaporates. You definitely want to give that alcohol plenty of time to evaporate, because alcohol is a lather killer, and so just give it some good with popsicle stick or something like that. It'll get kind of firm within the first couple of days. And just give it lots of time to let that evaporate. And then when it gets really hard, you then just punch it down and flatten it, and you're ready to go. Now, I just learned, this is the Williams puck that I used for my test shave earlier with this B2 brush from Zenith that I used just now. I learned that this has a curved bottom. So I came back to that Williams puck, had been sitting for a few months unused. And so it probably had shrunk just a little bit. And so I put the brush in there and it immediately swung over to one side and was really hard to lather. So if you do that, don't use a curved U-shaped bottomed container like this, or it'll probably come loose. Use something with more of a rectangle bottom, and you'll probably have a little better time with lathering it up. And so for just, $7 or $8, you can have 2 months of shaves with that scent that you like. You can do Stetson, you can do Aqua Velva, you can do, I did the Dynamic Pulse from Adidas, that's at Walmart. That's pretty good scent, but it was very light. It's very light in the bowl, and I think I even used the whole bottle. So sometimes, I imagine it just depends on the, excuse me, sorry. Sometimes it just depends on the cologne, on the aftershave. But anyway, that's a way to make some DIY soap. So at $8, you have to argue, do I like that better than maybe paying $10 for a puck of Haslinger, or some of the other refills out there? A Sterling refill costs about that much, and the scent's going to be, generally better. A Sterling puck is going to be $15 or something like that with the container as well. But if you're tight budgeted or just DIY, want to have some fun, you can take a hard soap like Williams or Arco or Derby or whatever, grate it up, let the alcohol evaporate from the aftershave, mix it all up, press it down. Container not round to bottom like this, and have yourself a little DIY soap. And as always, Williams and Arco, tremendous performers. Williams is another one that you get an airy lather at first, and you just got to mix through it. Okay, that's the secret. I do like to soak my Williams pucks for 6 minutes, something like that, which usually ends up to be as much as I prep my gear. And then by the time everything's in place, then it's ready to go. All right, well, face feels great. I don't have any irritation at all. Wonderful close shave. And there is a slight sticky feel because of that post shave, but as you can see, it's pretty much all absorbed. So this one is kind of an oily post shave. You saw the first few ingredients there were oils. And so maybe I tend to go toward the balms a little bit better, the lotions that are not quite as oily, but coming at it with a perspective of this is an oily type product. I think it's going to be good for my skin. Gives a little bit of sheen for now, but I'm sure that will absorb. I'm an oily guy anyway, maybe that's why. But who knows, maybe other sensitive skin folks could benefit from those type of oils. Anyway, super happy with the shave. Closeness is just really, really nice. Extremely happy with that. But it's kind of not really surprised with the Fatip, that Grande. And the more mild Testina Gentile just do really well for me. Surprisingly well. I can remember the first couple times I used one of those, I might have even laughed. I might have even been amazed so much and taken a just, wow, that's so good. Anyway, there we go. The shave is done. We're in good shape. I really enjoyed the brush. Like I said, the razor. This is a great blade, as it turns out, for this razor for me. The soap is nice. I wish it smelled a little stronger, but hey, it's all right. A little on the weak side, but it does smell like what it says, and so that's a plus. And great performance as usual from Mystic Water. I did dry my face between passes after that first rinse because it felt like maybe it was on a little. I wouldn't take it any waterier than that. So it might be a little on the wet side, and so I helped that out by removing the droplets from my face between passes. So there we go. That might be how I mix that. I might reduce the water just a little bit next time. So hope there was something here for you. Another Lather Games shave down the tubes. Today's Saturday. So just another week and a day, I think. And wow. That'll be interesting. It'll be, see what kind of soaps we have. I know that we have a declaration day coming up, and maybe the Barrister and Man Day, some sponsor days, because those two companies have just been really involved with this sub that's doing the Lather Games, and so they just always commenting and helping and doing exclusives and just so helpful. So they gave them their own days. So those are coming up soon. All right. Well, hey, take care. And hope there was something here for you. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Bye.